These are the headlines. The Court of Appeal rules that valid votes must be used to determine the election's results. The PPP has no problems with that and says it should be declared the winner of the elections.
We believe that the declaration should be made now on the basis that there's nothing preventing the Commission from moving forward.
Guyana records 21 new COVID-19 cases. Venezuela says it will not participate in the border case before the International Court of Justice. A post-mortem done on the body of a teenager who was pulled from the Berbice River found that she was pregnant and died from drowning compounded by blunt trauma to the head. Father's Day weekend ends deadly for motorists. And in sport, head coach Phil Simmons anticipates competitive build-up to Test series against England. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. The Court of Appeal Monday afternoon ruled that in determining the results of the elections, the country's chief elections officer Keith Lowenfield must do so based on who received the most valid votes. But the court did not block the Elections Commission from carrying out its work. The Chief Elections Officer in his report of the national vote recount showed the totals for the 10 electoral districts which were signed off by GCOM's own staff as being valid. When added up, Lowenfield's report shows the opposition People's Progressive Party winning the elections by 15,416 votes over the coalition APNU-AFC. The ruling follows an application by Sophia Georgetown resident Eslyn David for a declaration that GCOM had failed to act in accordance with the terms of the recount order to determine a final, credible count of the March 2nd elections. The court did not grant that declaration. However, she also wanted an interpretation of the words "more votes cast" in Article 177(2)(b) of the Constitution, namely a declaration that more votes cast should be construed to mean more valid votes cast. The court's decision was 2-1, with Justices Dawn Gregory-Barnes and Brassington Reynolds agreeing. Regarding orders, the two judges granted no injunction stopping GCOM from carrying out its work, and the court did not bother to venture into whether Lowenfield's report was valid or not. Article 177(2) points out that if there are more than one party contesting the elections, the presidential candidate for the party with more votes cast would be deemed the president-elect, but Reynolds ordered that the words "more votes cast" in Article 177(2) should be interpreted to mean more valid votes cast, since the order for the recount did seek to determine a credible count. Now, the General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Bara Jagdeo, commented on the Court of Appeal ruling during a virtual update.
We believe that the declaration should be made now on the basis that there's nothing preventing the Commission from moving forward. They had already determined what valid votes were. The credibility of the process has been provided clearly by CARICOM, the observers, the live streaming, etc. APNU letters written to the Commission can't serve the basis for any determination of credibility. They have, especially when all of the contents have been discredited. Those they must present in an elections petition. On the question of validity of votes, clearly the Court of Appeal could not mean that Lowenfield or any single political party, and in this case APNU, can solely determine what valid votes are. That this has to be determined based on a process. So, if you look at, and we are contending that all along this is provided for in our laws, and total valid votes have already been determined by the Commission. So Lowenfield and APNU are not trying to determine valid votes. They're trying to invalidate valid votes. That is the issue here. We believe that this matter is back with GCOM. GCOM that the chair of GCOM indicated in her affidavit to the court that they can't direct them what to do. The court has no, we believe the court took on a jurisdiction that it didn't have. But nevertheless, even the ruling they had that you have to read that section of the Constitution where it says more votes than, meaning more valid votes than, that the valid votes have already been determined by the Commission and therefore sets the stage for a declaration. And we believe that a declaration should be made shortly on the basis of this.
With just 1 week left before the hearing of the border controversy case before the International Court of Justice, Venezuela has said it will not participate in the process and has invited Guyana to renew negotiations.
In an official communique, Venezuela's Foreign Affairs Minister Jorge Arriaza stated that Venezuela will abstain from appearing at the hearings, which are set to begin on June 30th. Venezuela has argued that the ICJ does not have the jurisdiction to settle the decades-old border controversy. In the communique, Arriaza also invited Guyana to renew negotiations under the Geneva Agreement. The document stated that Venezuela sincerely invites the Republic of Guyana to renew the negotiation to which both nations are bound by virtue of the Geneva Agreement, with the purpose of reaching amicably an acceptable and satisfactory practical arrangement for both republics. The border case was initiated by Guyana to have a final settlement to the age-old controversy. Venezuela has challenged the jurisdiction of the court, and the case was scheduled to be heard on March 23rd at the Peace Palace in The Hague, but it was postponed due to the deadly coronavirus. Venezuela lays claim to more than two-thirds of Guyana's land mass, including this country's exclusive economic zone, where more than 8 billion barrels of oil deposits have been discovered. The matter was settled in an 1899 tribunal, which Venezuela agreed and signed onto. But in 2015, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro renewed the claim at the height of political instability and deplorable economic conditions. Guyana moved to the ICJ in 2018 after the negotiations proved futile. The ICJ announced in May that the public hearings of the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy will begin on June 30th at the Peace Palace in Hague at 2 p.m. by video conference. Bibi Khatoon, Newsroom.
Welcome back. You're watching the Newsroom. The Minister of Public Health on Monday confirmed 21 new cases of the new coronavirus, bringing the total number of recorded cases in Guyana to 205. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Rishi Persaud provided a daily update, and he urged persons to continue taking precautions and residents of outlying communities to avoid crossing the border into Brazil.
As of the 22nd of June 2020, of the 39 tests done, there have been 21 new cases. The total number of confirmed cases is now 205, and the number of COVID deaths remain at 12. We're happy to announce that 103 persons have recovered to date. In institutional isolation, we now have 90 cases and 24 cases in institutional quarantine. There is no patient in the COVID ICU. We have conducted 2,147 tests so far, with 1,942 being negative. Fellow Guyanese, as we informed you last week, we are in phase 1 of the relaxation of measures, and we wish to emphasize the importance of making every effort to ensure that you follow the guidelines as outlined. We wish to remind you of the runaway situation in neighboring Brazil that has climbed to the position of being the second country in the world to have reported cases, with an alarming high number of deaths registered. Residents in regions number 1, 7, 8, and 9, you're extremely vulnerable because of this situation and need to be vigilant. Stop all cross-border movement and migrant persons entering your community. Region 9 have reported another positive case, which is testimony to our call for you to be on your guard. Residents of region number 6, we're also advising you to be cognizant of the situation in Suriname. whose cases have more than doubled in the last month. Even within Guyana, we have not seen a reduction, but a constant increase in the number of positive cases, with our males continuing to be the sex most affected by this disease, and the 20 to 29 age group being the most at-risk group according to our data. The ministry continues to plead with you to act responsibly. Let's remember to wash our hands, wear a mask if we're out in public, and maintain physical distance. Call the hotline in your community, use the mobile unit, or engage the COVID site facilities if you have signs or symptoms, or if you have been in contact with a positive case. The mobile units will be in central Georgetown at the Merriman's Mall this week. The ministry continues to rely on you to play your part.
The World Health Organization is urging countries to engage in stringent contact tracing to reduce community spread of COVID-19. The WHO's technical lead on COVID-19 on Monday noted that the most populated areas are accounting for most of the new cases. Guyana has confirmed new cases in the Molucas sub-district of Region 1, which has 23 cases as a result of community transmission.
Any opportunity that the virus has to take hold, it will. And it's really important that countries are in a position to be able to rapidly detect these cases and put everything they can to isolate cases so that the outbreaks don't become larger, and that these small numbers of cases don't become clusters, and that these clusters of cases don't become community transmission again. So we urge all countries to be at the ready to be able to detect any cases that pop up, regardless of where they may be. We know that there are particular vulnerable settings, primarily where there may be patients, so in healthcare facilities, whether you have closed settings where people are in close contact with one another, and be really ready to find those cases, isolate cases, carry out comprehensive contact tracing, and care for those individuals who need care in medical facilities. When we look at any case numbers in any country, it's really important that we break this down to the lowest administrative level as we can. The virus doesn't take hold evenly across all countries. There may be differences in intensity of transmission by a state or a province, but then even more importantly, it's to break that down even further. Where is transmission happening? Is it happening in healthcare facilities? Is it happening in these expat dormitories that I mentioned previously? Is it related to specific events? Is it in certain vulnerable populations like long-term living facilities? We need to break down the cases to an understanding so that we know how to tackle it.
A postmortem examination has found that 18-year-old Melissa Soman, whose body was found floating in the Berbice River last week, died as a result of drowning, compounded by blunt trauma to the head. She was also pregnant at the time of her death, as Bibi Katoon reports.
The body of 18-year-old Melissa Soman was fished out of the Berbice River on the afternoon of June 18th. The postmortem examination was done on Monday by government pathologist Dr. Nihal Singh, which revealed that she died from drowning, compounded by blunt trauma to the head. The PME also confirmed that the teenager was pregnant. Soman's 22-year-old boyfriend, who is in police custody, told investigators at the weekend that she was 2 months pregnant. The teen reportedly jumped overboard on the night of June 17th as she was traveling in a boat with her boyfriend and his 48-year-old uncle on their way home from a birthday party. While the older man initially told the police that she complained of issues with her boyfriend and jumped overboard, the newsroom understands that Soman was in fact involved in a heated argument with the boy on the night, who accused her of dancing with a number of persons at the birthday. The boyfriend reportedly confessed to beating her before she allegedly jumped overboard. The 22-year-old reportedly launched an attack on his uncle as well, using a paddle. The body of the teenager, who has a 2-year-old son, was found with her face and right hand badly disfigured after it was eaten by fish. She had left her family's Lot 58 Stanleytown, New Amsterdam home about 3 months ago to go live with her boyfriend. Her father, Paul Soman, told the newsroom Monday that he feels some amount of relief that the truth has come to light. The boyfriend and uncle remain in police custody as investigators await advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions. Bibi Katun, Newsroom.